Welcome everybody to my latest video. For this video, I thought I would show you guys how to remove an arcade monitor from your cabinet. Now I'm pretty sure I already made a video about this. Maybe it was within the first year I started doing videos. Can't quite remember. But anyways, the reason I'm making this video is if you've seen my previous video, you'll know I've been working on an arcade project. And I came into some problems with the monitor. Someone sent me a private message asking that if I was to do a monitor swap, if I could show how to remove the monitor. So I thought, well, I actually am going to do a monitor swap, so might as well make the video. So here we are. It's just going to be hopefully a quick video, nothing too major. If you have any questions after, feel free to message me. I know there are some videos out there already like this, but hey, I'm just a small channel here, so if someone's got a request, I'll try and do it. So, first thing you want to do, just unplug your arcade cabinet. Now, the reason why I say actually unplug it is if you just turn off the cabinet, you know, stuff can still happen. Someone might accidentally turn it on, you might be in the middle of a thunderstorm, lightning strikes your house, whatever. You just want to unplug your cabinet. That way you know that no additional electricity is going to your cabinet. Now, the first thing that I do, and here's a little tidbit first. Some people out there say you need to discharge the monitor before even touching it. I really don't think that's true. I've removed many monitors and I have never discharged it prior to removing it. That being said, take it for what you will. Some people agree with me, some don't, but I'm just showing you what I do. So take it with a grain of salt. Now for me, after I make sure my cabinet is unplugged, next thing I do is I remove the power cable that supplies electricity to the monitor. It'll usually look something like this. It'll consist of a black and white cable, possibly stuck together or twisted together. It might connect to your chassis the way this one does. You might have a connector that looks something like this. You might have a wire that's built into the chassis that comes out and has a connector like that and then connects to your black and white cable. It all depends on your particular monitor. Well, what you want to do is remove that cable. Either disconnect it from the connector, disconnect it from the chassis, however it works out for your monitor. This particular one, the connector that was right here didn't fit into there, so you saw I jerry-rigged it. In this particular case, I would just pop these suckers out right here. And look at your cabinet, because I've seen cabinets and I've had cabinets where the wire is just basically stuck in there with some tape. So, now that you got that done, next thing you want to do is remove your colored wires that come from your jammer harness to your monitor. And as you can see, on this particular one, they are right there. Again, the connector I had didn't fit, so in this particular cabinet, I kind of just jerry-rigged it. Let's see, maybe that's a better picture, maybe not. Now let me go show you on my other monitor what it looked like. Okay, here we are with my monitor that was in the cabinet that I was working on. This one had some issues, but you can see right there, that's where my JAMA harness colored wires connected to the monitor. Get a side view right here. Not sure if it's going to show up too good. Let's see, yeah. Right there. So you want to remove those wires. And give you a quick look. This is the power cable that was connected to this monitor, and I told you how sometimes the cable will be built right into the chassis. And there you can see this cable is just kind of built into it. So that's what I was talking about. But anyways, disconnect the power, disconnect the colored cables, and let's go to the next step. Okay, so the next thing you want to do is check to see if your monitor has one of these adjustment boards connected to it. Newer monitors more likely will have this, some of the older ones don't. And if your monitor does have one, it'll usually be screwed down somewhere within the cabinet. So if you do have one, just go ahead and unscrew it, and basically just, you can wrap the wires around the monitor brackets, the holders, whatever they're called. You just basically want to make sure this is loose, because when you pull out the monitor, you don't want this connected. It might get caught on something and then you'll cause damage. Alright, so next step. Okay, now we're on to the next segment. But before we go on, you might be looking at the cabinet and thinking why it looks like it's in a different location. Well, that's because when I first recorded this segment, I was still working on the cabinet as a project, and I barely got around to editing this video and creating the video, and the footage that I shot didn't turn out so well. So I figured I would just reshoot this segment. So, on to it. The next step you want to do is, from the front, you want to remove any plexiglass or any bezel that you may have. Now the way you do that, and if you haven't already done so, is basically, for the most part, the cabinet that you have, it's going to have a control panel that is latched, and you got to go through the coin door and unlatch it. I've already done this, but you can see there's a latch there and there's a latch right there. So you basically go through the coin door and reach up. Now, once you do that, then you're able to remove any plexiglass or plastic or anything that you have, and usually it'll pop right out. Now what you do is you actually got to get it, and I recommend always getting it from the bottom, and basically just pull it forward and it'll slip out from under here. Let's see if I can do this with one hand. There we go. See? And see how it just slides out from the top? So that's all you do, and that will allow you to remove your glass or your protector screen. It may be plastic, maybe plexi, who knows what, and then remove any bezel that you may have. Now let's go on to the next step. Next, when you look at your monitor, it's attached to these brackets. These are actually then attached to the cabinet. Sometimes, it'll be a little bit different. People, jerry-rig things. But for the most part, it's going to look something like this. You're going to have the monitor attached to this bracket holder. Can't quite remember the actual name. But then this is usually screwed into the cabinet. And it'll come with usually 3 holes at the top, 3 screws or bolts. People use bolts, they use Phillips head screws, whatever, and they just use it to hold it in place into the cabinet. So you'll want to unscrew and remove anything that you have that holds this to your cabinet. Like I said, usually it's 3 holes on top, 1, 2, 3, or you got 3 on the bottom, 1, 2, 3. So once again, there you go. So go ahead and remove all those, and don't worry, unless your monitor is improperly installed, when you remove those, your monitor is not going to fall. Now, here's a word of advice. Make sure that the bracket is in front. I've had a monitor, or I've had a cabinet, and I'm not sure how they did this or why they did it, but the monitor was attached to the wooden panels from behind. So when you removed the screws or bolts, whatever it was, I actually had to have someone help me, because once removed, the monitor actually would have fallen down into the cabinet. That was the first and only time I've ever seen it. I'm not sure why they did it that way, but yeah, your monitor, once everything's removed, it will still rest, providing the bracket is in front, and that counts for both top and... Okay, so here we are, and you're getting ready to pull out your monitor. Now, the first thing I would recommend is getting yourself a pair of work gloves. I personally prefer the High Flex Foam by Ansel. I think they're great gloves. They're not too thick, they're not too bulky, they're very comfortable, and they protect your hands and they keep your hands clean. So, getting ready to pull out your monitor from your cabinet. You want to know where you can touch it? You can touch it here, you can touch it anywhere here, nothing's gonna happen. I like to grab it from the top and the bottom and pull out, and then once it's out a couple inches, I like to then grab it by the monitor frame brackets. So you can touch these, you can touch this, you can touch this. What you don't want to do is touch the red wire with the suction cup, and what you don't want to do is touch anything on your chassis or on the neck tube. The two main reasons: one, you can cause damage to whatever it is you would touch, and two, you might get shocked. You might be asking, well, why didn't you discharge it? It's just the way I do things. Discharge it before if you want, that's up to you. But I know not to touch any of this, So you pull it out, put it on the ground, you want to transport it, you can always lift it by these. It's not going to break, it's not going to bend, you're not going to get electrocuted, provided, one, these things are secure. If this is real wobbly or these are loose, you might want to tighten it up. Maybe it was installed properly, maybe it's the wrong bracket, but provided everything's good, then this thing will be secure, and you can transport it to wherever you want, storage or a donation, whatever. But yeah, all this down here, just don't touch. And that's pretty much it. Now, to install a monitor back into your cabinet, you pretty much just want to do what this video said, but in the reverse order. So there it is. I'm sure there's other videos on YouTube that show how to remove a monitor. I'm sure there's much better videos, more accurate videos, whatever. Take it for what you will. This is what I do. I've never had a problem doing it. So hopefully this helps, and if not, well, thanks for watching anyways. So until next time.
That's it, man. It's game over, man. It's game over.